Hey everyone, Andy Earl here, CEO of Write It Great, where we help top experts transform their ideas into books that change minds and shape conversations. If you ever found yourself searching for tips on how to write a great speech, craft a compelling book, or outline a killer blog post, you're in the right place because today we're diving into one of the most crucial elements of powerful writing, delivering satisfying resolutions. But instead of the same old writing advice you've heard a million times, we're going to explore this topic through the lens of some delightfully weird tips that actually work. These unconventional strategies are grounded in the psychology of how our brains process information and crave closure. So, whether you're drafting a high stakes email, scripting a game changing presentation, or penning the next best selling book, these tips will help you craft resolutions that leave your audience gratified and craving more. Ernest Hemingway once said, "Write the truest sentence that you know." But here's a weird twist on that advice. Sometimes the most powerful sentences are the ones you don't write. I'm talking about the art of the strategic cliffhanger. Imagine you're writing an article about the science of productivity. In part one of the piece, you cover the problem, why it's so hard to be productive. You share some psychology and a few relatable anecdotes, but instead of neatly tying up the idea with a bow, you end with a tantalizing hint. Next, we'll unveil a simple yet counterintuitive technique that can triple your productivity overnight. But before we can do that, we need to explore two common myths about efficiency often hold us back. Boom. You've left your readers hanging, but in the best possible way. By hinting at a resolution without fully delivering it, you've piqued their curiosity and given them a compelling reason to keep turning the pages. This approach taps into the Zeigarnik Effect, the psychological principle that we remember unfinished or interrupted tasks better than completed ones. By strategically interrupting the resolution, you make your ideas stickier and more memorable. But what about those times when you do need to provide a resolution? That's where our next weird tip comes in. You know those Russian nesting dolls where each one opens up to reveal a slightly smaller version inside? That's a perfect metaphor for a satisfying resolution in writing. Let's say you're crafting an email to propose a new initiative at work. You've laid out the problem, built a case for your solution, and now it's time to bring it home. Instead of just stating your proposed course of action, try nesting it within a broader vision. By implementing this new customer feedback system, you might write, we won't just improve satisfaction scores, we'll be laying the foundation for a culture of continuous improvement that will keep our company on the cutting edge for years to come. See what happened there? You provided a specific resolution, implementing the feedback system, but you also contextualized it within a larger, more aspirational resolution, creating a culture of innovation. This Russian doll approach works because it satisfies our craving for closure on multiple levels. It gives us the immediate gratification of a concrete solution, but also the deeper satisfaction of seeing how that solution fits into a bigger picture. The resolution isn't just about what you say, it's also about how you say it. And that brings us to our next weird writing tip. Remember the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears? She wanted porridge that was not too hot, not too cold, but just right. The same principle applies to the cadence of your writing when you're delivering a resolution. Imagine you're writing a speech about the importance of work-life balance. You painted a vivid picture of the burnout epidemic and shared some personal stories. Now it's time to drive your point home. If your resolution is too abrupt, so take more vacations. It feels jarring and unsatisfying. But if you belabor the point too long, restating your case over and over in different variations, you risk losing the impact. The key is to find that Goldilocks cadence, not too abrupt, not too drawn out, but just right. You might say something like, in a world that glorifies hustle and grind, it's easy to forget that rest is not a luxury, but a necessity. By prioritizing downtime, setting boundaries, and giving ourselves permission to disconnect, we're not just improving our individual well-being, we're redefining what it means to be successful in the modern workplace. So let's make a pact right here and now to start treating our leisure time as sacred, because when we do, we'll find we're not just happier and healthier, we're also more creative, more productive, and more fully present in every aspect of our lives. This cadence is effective because it provides a sense of closure. The main point has been made, but it also invites the audience to continue the conversation in their own minds and lives. Speaking of conversations, our next weird writing tip is all about making your resolutions feel like a dialogue rather than a monologue. Great writing often feels like a conversation between the writer and the reader, and nowhere is this more important than in the resolution, because when you make your audience feel like they're part of the epiphany, it becomes their insight as much as yours. Imagine you're writing a self-help book chapter on procrastination. Instead of simply stating the conclusion you've been building up to, try framing it as a conversation. At this point, you might be thinking, but wait, isn't the whole point of procrastination that we avoid things that scare us? And you're absolutely right. That's why the counterintuitive solution is to lean into that fear. By starting each day with the task that scares us the most, we build our courage muscle and take away procrastination's power. It's like giving your demons a great big bear hug. By anticipating the reader's thoughts and engaging with them directly, you create a sense of dialogue and collaboration. The resolution feels less like a lecture and more like a shared aha moment, like a conversational catharsis. But what if you're not writing a self-help book or a motivational speech? What if you're just trying to communicate effectively in everyday situations? That's where our final weird writing tip comes in. Here's the thing about effective communication. It's not just for big dramatic moments. The principles of a satisfying resolution apply just as much to a routine email as they do to a best-selling book. Imagine you're writing to a colleague to update them on a project. You've outlined the progress you've made, the obstacles you've encountered, and now it's time to wrap it up. Instead of just summarizing your points or restating your next steps, try to craft a mini epiphany, a small but satisfying insight that ties everything together. You might write something like, as I reflect on this project, I'm realizing that the challenges we faced have also been opportunities in disguise. By navigating unexpected roadblocks, we've been forced to think creatively and develop new problem-solving skills. In a way, this project isn't just about delivering a product. It's about growing as a team and expanding what we're capable of. This kind of everyday epiphany does two things. First, it provides a sense of closure and meaning to the otherwise mundane details of the project update. But more importantly, it invites your colleague to see the situation in a new light, to have their own small aha moment. And that's really the secret to a satisfying resolution in any kind of writing. It's not just about tying up loose ends or driving a point home. It's about giving your audience the gift of fresh insight and perspective, even if it's just in a tiny everyday way. So there you have it. 5 weird writing tips that actually work when it comes to crafting satisfying resolutions. From the Hemingway Cliffhanger to the Everyday Epiphany, these strategies are all about tapping into the psychology of how our brains crave closure and insight. But the real magic happens when you start to internalize these principles and make them your own. Because the best writing isn't about following formulas or mimicking techniques. It's about finding your unique voice and using it to connect with others in meaningful ways. If you want to go deeper on this journey of writing mastery, be sure to check out our other resources at Write It Great. Subscribe to our channel so you won't miss an update. Until next time, keep creating those satisfying resolutions.